Welcome back from the break, everyone, to Pivotal Change. I'm your host, Ryan Conn, and I'm bringing back from the break my friend Steve Galley from Blueprint Ventures. And we're going to keep going on this conversation about how to develop processes, select teams, and work into the idea of chasing down mergers and the selection of who ultimately we're going to work with, work beside, and grow with. So, Steve, welcome back from the break.
Thank you.
And I want to jump right into this question. You do a lot of team formation, all the way down to the individuals that are going to form a little maybe division or portion of the company to teams of various companies that all get acquired and work together in a much higher capital stakes game of scaling and growth. So, how important is forming the right team, and what are you looking for, those characteristics of the individuals and the companies?
The team is everything. I've said that in every organization that we've ever touched, where, the CEO is only as good as their team. The team is really the reason for success. The CEO is a reason for failure, but the team is really the reason for success. And that's true in every aspect of every business, no matter what industry that you're in. Um, culture to me is the biggest item, where if people have that core value, and you can't make up core values. That's another common thing. Like, people are like going out there and just being like, all right, today we are all about the customer. No, like, you have to truly be all about the customer, and you can't fake core values. But what's really interesting, and what we've seen firsthand through all of the acquisitions and everything that we've done, is you start to see bad culture almost like smoke itself out of an organization, where if you truly build a very strong cultural foundation inside an organization, you relieve yourself of all that risk of having one bad actor inside the organization taking everybody else down. You almost start to see where a non-culture fit leaves themselves from that opportunity, and it allows you guys to really clear the pave the way for success.
I love that so much. And you don't even know this, but with CS Business Consulting and the leadership company, I have a core values test where we actually get people to select and flesh out and articulate their core values. And there's even a test on the back side of it that tells you if you're trying to lie to yourself or not. And then what you do is you
Mhm.
start marrying up people's core values. And the science kind of shows exactly what you just said. I mean, it literally says what your experience says is that people with conflicting core values, they can fake it for so long, but eventually the friction is there that they're going to separate that relationship. And whether that be in a marriage or a business deal or a softball team, those core values and that culture is going to shake itself out. So I like that a lot. So that tells me a little bit about the individual level. Do you play that same scenario, that put that same lens on selecting companies that are going to be drawn in to the larger picture? And then now they're going to have to play well together because they have an alignment of core values and culture and those other processes, personality types of the companies.
Yeah, definitely we do. And part of what we're looking at there is, we have a very specific playbook. Like, the name Blueprint Ventures is because we truly feel like we have the blueprint to success, because we've been able to replicate it over and over again. So part of that is certain mindsets and certain, personality type traits that each one of these founders and CEOs and people who we do business with in general really need to have. So we're putting that at the forefront of anything. There's so much opportunity out there for anybody in any industry, that you don't need to spend the time and the extra effort to force something to happen into something that it's really not going to be successful. You're not going to fit a square peg into a round hole. Just wait until you find the round peg to fit into the round hole. It's really that simple. There's so much opportunity.
I like it a lot. Now, when you say there's not going to be that much friction, there's natural ebbs and flows of life in busy periods and some chaos that comes with changeover. But that personality, that big friction that ultimately caused the fractures that hurt us, hurt our feelings, and probably burn bridges over time. So, is that one of the things, or is there something else in addition to? So, if that is the number one thing, go ahead and switch over to the number two thing that you would look at when you're going for the accounting firms and you're trying to scope out. I want to examine something. I want to maybe do my due diligence, not just on the core values and the personality type of the CEO, if that happens to be number in their culture, if that happens to be the number one. But here's another thing I'm going to examine when I'm looking at building my team.
Yep. Yeah. So the first thing is culture fit. The second thing is the business viable. Looking at a lot of like the industry specific KPIs, key performance indicators of that business. How do they stack up? Where is there room for improvement? A lot of companies, a lot of times they talk to venture capital or private equity, and they're trying to paint a picture that everything's great, my business is amazing. the reality is everybody's business is not amazing, no matter where you go. I mean, go up to Apple, which is probably the largest company. They're not amazing. They have issues also. So really what we like to look at is making sure, and that's why culture is so important, because we want to make sure that the founder or the CEO is comfortable enough to disclose and let us know the skeletons that are in the closet. So really the second item that we go to is that item right there. Show me your pain points. What's hindering your growth? And what's really you finding to be the biggest challenge of your business?
Right. And you do that, just me knowing you now, you do that through a lens of show me your pain points so that we can work on them and fix them together. Not show me your scars in your industry so that I can look at you as an ugly mutated beast and run away, but instead we can all heal and grow together to make this big thing. Because we have the culture and we have the indicators that say we're viable and can grow. All we got to do is work on these weak spots and the whole structure becomes strong. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
We problem solve for a living. Entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, problem solve for a living, and that's all we do. So if we're going into an organization and everything's amazing, there's no growth potential for me, right?
Yeah.
Because where am I going to take it? You're amazing. Your business is running amazing. You're growing more than every other customer in your industry. You're above average on all your other KPIs. Where do we help? But we problem solve. We want to see the problems and then find out, is there a viable solution for us to solve those problems to take this business to the next level? That's really the mindset.
Yeah, and I love the parallel because on the Shelton Associates side of things on the accounting firm, we do this high level advisory to work with our clients, and the question already comes up: well, what if we have a client that's in such good shape they don't need our advice? Well, one, I have yet to find one that's perfect, right, and doesn't need any advice. And two, if they're that clean as a whistle, well, they don't need us. We wouldn't take their money anyway because they're all clean and there's no opportunity for me to help. So, kind of building a transition here of the accounting, you have a significant accounting background, CPA. How much has that played into your success in navigating this climate that you operate in, the mergers, the acquisitions, the startups, the developments? How much has that financial tax knowledge aided you in that whole adventure of yours?
A ton, no, a ton, because it allows me to approach the business differently than most other people, because I've seen tens of thousands of financial statements and tens of thousands of businesses that have come across that might have went out of business. The majority of businesses that fail and go out of business are actually profitable when they shut the doors and walk away. They're mismanaging cash flow. So it really allows that different lens and that different scope where we might not look at something like a traditional private equity firm, because I've seen so many businesses, so many financial statements, and we understand small tweaks can make a big difference. So I think it really changes the approach.
I like that. So obviously, not every entrepreneur out there has an accounting background or is a CPA. What is your advice to them about getting that help? How early along in the stages of their growth and development and scaling should they be getting help from a professional that can scale them, work on their team and culture, or again, a certified planning accountant that can help project their future and avoid all those hazards and pitfalls?
Yeah, immediately. I think day one, step one, you need to make sure, because every new business change or new business period starts off with financial projections, pro formas, what is this going to look like? And then
Yeah.
you need to be able to hold yourself accountable and actually track those things properly. So everybody needs to connect with an advisor, a consultant, a CFO of some sort, whether it's fractional or full time, depends on the size of your business, but that should be the number one thing that everybody goes into.
So that should be an expectation up front when launching your business, or when you've already gotten off the ground, maybe you're a couple of years down the road, and you're having this revelation moment that I need this professional help. I can go be the most skilled, enter your industry here, but I need the help of certain professionals. And obviously, you can definitely be one of those professionals for people. Let me fling over the last question here real quick, and then we're going to have to jump to our next commercial break. But when you're looking at a business and you're going to be engaging with that business, we've already talked about the culture and the ability to grow. If we're now taking a measurement of the skill that they have internally, the technical side, and how much product itself is, really, I would just say producing a profit versus being related to how much they have a service mind, a follow up with their clients, a relationship building and personality types of the leaders that actually keep those teams engaged and looking forward to the vision. Which one are you going to rely on heavily, the high skillful technical side or more of that softer skill side Does one of those weigh heavier to you?
Uh, Depending on the industry, I mean, I think service is really what differentiates most businesses. So at this day and age of where we're at now, the technical side of most businesses are virtually gone. The ability for you to, build a piece of technology, get product to sell, take Pizza Shop for an example. Everybody can make pizza. You could probably get your pizza to be very close to everybody else's pizza because you're all ordering ingredients from the same place and everything else like that. So really what truly differentiates most business is the customer engagement, the customer service side, and making sure that your team truly has that it factor when it comes to making somebody feel important to be doing business with you and truly meaning it also.
Gotcha. I mean, that's really fantastic. I appreciate everything you said for us today. I think you're really going to be correcting, and I always encourage the audience to listen and watch to the show with a notepad and take notes. But Steve, we do have to jump to our next commercial break. So tell me, if somebody likes Blueprint Ventures, they like Steve, and they would ever want to utilize you to get the blueprint for them or have some consultation, what's a way somebody could get a hold of you?
Yeah, we're big on just educating the entire market and really empowering entrepreneurs all around. So our content on social is all out there to just give little like snippets and tidbits of what we kind of feel is important. BPV.io. If you have any other questions, go right through BPV.io, reach out. Most of what we do is legitimately just sit and talk with founders and entrepreneurs and see if we could help them, just help them in general. Maybe make a relationship, maybe make an introduction. That's really all we're looking to do.
Steve, that's absolutely fantastic. Everybody, I thank you for joining us up to this part of the show. We've got halfway point just reached, so stay tuned to Pivotal Change after this commercial break, and we'll be right back with our next guest.